Hello there, Biaka Miyazudesu, and welcome to my review of Voice of Cards The Isle Dragon Roars demo. I had seen Square Enix announcing this cards game by Yoko Taro, and although Yoko Taro's name piqued my interest, I wasn't really that excited for a cards game. But I saw that the demo was out recently because I saw some people giving good critiques to the game, to the demo, and I decided to try it for myself. And I must say that I was actually pleasantly surprised. So, my only experience with card games so far has been Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. And that was a terrible experience. So the grind wasn't so bad. I didn't do a review of the game, but I spoke of it during my Kingdom Hearts reviews. But I wasn't able to do a review of the game because I never actually got to finish the game. I'm stuck somewhere in the middle in Sora's part because doing the grind isn't really that difficult with the card system, but doing the bosses is terrible. And of course, you feel like there's no leveling. There's not a real level up system, so you feel like you are stuck with the cards you're dealt, so to speak, and it's a really terrible system. So I wasn't that much excited for a cards game, but it has Yoko Taro's name, so I don't know if he's just drawing characters, if he's doing part of the story. Having a dragon seems like a very Yoko Taro thing, especially due to his Drakengard games, but I would have to research more about that. And of course, I was really excited. As soon as you enter the menu, you start hearing Keiichi Okabe's fantastic music, and you hear that music throughout the game, and that's a marvelous experience because I love the Nier's soundtrack, and this one I'm sure will not be an exception because I already enjoyed all the musics that I listened to through the demo. About the game itself, so you play what is maybe an hour and a half of the game. I don't know if that's really the beginning, what you play in the demo, or if it's somewhere in the middle, I don't know, but it feels like you are playing the beginning, and the story is really simple. Your party are three members of the Ivory Order, so you know that this Ivory Order is responsible for supplying medicine throughout the city, the country, the place where you're in. And the Ivory Order has three characters. So the names in English are really weird because it's Winefried, Blaine, I don't know. They are written in a really weird way, so I don't know the name. So it's one girl and two guys. The girl has magic. One of the guys, the elder, is really focused on powerful magic, and the other one, in Japanese they call them bureido. Um, he's the tank type, so he's the heavy damager. And you are called by the queen, and she tells the trio that the royal treasure has been taken by some monster or someone. And you discover that this royal treasure is actually what looks like a small medicine bottle, and the trio are responsible for retrieving it. And the queen says that she will give the trio any reward that they want because this bottle is that important. And from there on, you are exploring. You have to go to the town to talk to the citizens and have more clues about the monster that stole the medicine bottle, its whereabouts, and you explore what looks like an open world of cards facing down, and as you move, those cards turn and you start to see your path. So it's really interesting, this kind of mechanic. I was actually really into exploring whatever I could so that I could turn all the cards and do some grind. The grind is basically a typical turn-based RPG. So your characters take turns, they do one action, and then the enemies have their own turns and they do their attacks. So it's a typical turn base. You have items to heal during your fights. You also have various types of magic. So if I remember correctly, they say that you have 6 types of magic: light, dark, bolt, wind, water, and fire. So it's really similar to what I have experienced in, for example, Final Fantasy X. It's the same kind of magics plus light and dark. And you are always trying to learn which types your enemies are weak to, and those sorts of things. So it's a really typical RPG in that sense. There are some times where you also see some Dungeons and Dragons influences, because there are certain attacks where you have a damage factor. So what happens is you do your attack and then they give you a dice for you to roll, and it gives you extra damage. And this is a really cool mechanic. I was able to do actually getting 5s and 6, so it was really cool to have that. And sometimes you also have random events. So one event that I had, for example, was finding what they call the Bizarre Rock. And that Bizarre Rock, I had to roll the dice so I could see what would happen. And I remember that I got a 4 or something like that, and it turned to a more or less easy enemy to defeat. You just had to find his weakness. And it's really cool, those kind of things. There was another event where I caught some kind of goblin was poisoned, and I had the decision of cure him or let him be. And I decided to cure him, and I for a moment thought that he would attack me, but no, he just went in his life looking at the trio, glancing at them sometimes. I don't know if it's supposed to later on, if you return to the forest, he helps you or something like that, but it was really interesting. You also take decisions. I didn't see real consequences for my decisions. It was small things too. So maybe at a later part of the game they will have more impact. But it was really cool. I was a little bit disappointed in the voice acting. Why? Because you have a narrator, and okay, that's good. And I also heard the Japanese and the English voice acting. I only heard a little bit of the English voice acting, but it seems to me that the English narrator is a bit more expressive than the Japanese one. It's not that the Japanese is bad. For example, in Catherine, the Japanese narrator was really boring. It's not the case in here, but I felt like the English voice actor was much more into it. And what I was really disappointed is that, yes, you have a narrator, okay, that's good. And I thought that when the characters would intervene, that you would hear their voices. But no, what you hear is the narrator doing their lines, so you are always listening to the same voice. It's not really a problem because the voices are good to listen to, but I would have enjoyed to have other voice actors, but it is what it is. So the soundtrack is really amazing. The designs of the characters, I mean, if you have played a Nier or a Drakengard, it's in the same vibe. It has a medieval vibe to it, but the designs are really beautiful. And it was really interesting to see the story, and I was actually much more into the gameplay than I had expected. So I'm not saying that this is a game that I would buy day one. I don't feel like spending that money. But if I get it, if I see it in a big promotion, I would definitely want to play this game from beginning to end because I was actually pretty captivated by it. Be it for the soundtrack or the gameplay in itself and wanting to learn more about the story because I really enjoyed it. So, if you have played the demo, please tell me your thoughts. If you are planning to buy the full version, tell me also in the comments. And see you next time.